Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Benchwarmer Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Raffi, and as always, joined by Davian and Theodore, per usual. Threw on the Rangers jersey as we are recording this lovely Friday evening. The Rangers have just sent the series to 7, down 3-1, and now we are going to a game 7. Normally, I was thinking about throwing on the Bruins jersey for tomorrow's game, but I thought, why not? I'm back for a little bit, back in the home area. I have my jerseys with me. Why not throw on this nice Rangers jersey? So looks like we have 3 Rangers fans on this call. But boys, you guys are the more closer Rangers fans, although I clearly have the jersey. But your thoughts on the game? You guys are still new. How are you guys liking hockey? And what are your thoughts on the Rangers right now?
Man, I am ready to move to Canada at this point. Hockey is just so incredible. I don't know how I took so long to get into it. Watching these playoff games is wild. By the time the recording's up, these games will be over. But as of this recording, like Saturday, I'm gonna get to go and watch 3 game 7s back to back to back. Like this is wild. It's unheard of in the NBA. All the games are so fun, except for the blowouts. But the ones that are close are so fun. I love hockey. I'm fully on the NHL hype train, and I'm getting more excited for every single Rangers game than I have for a Giants game in years. So that kind of speaks on both the dysfunction of the New York Giants and just the pure excitement of playoff hockey. I'm fully on board here.
You finally have something to root about now as a New York
Yeah,
fan.
yeah. No,
Davian,
this is good.
And I'm just speechless. It's such a good game. I mean, rough start, but hey, it's all about comebacks, and the Rangers were able to do that. And Game 7 in New York City.
Yeah.
Man, it's gonna be nuts. It's gonna be nuts. You're truly gonna see New York come to life in this next game. It's I have no words to explain what's gonna happen to New York City once the Rangers win.
I
I'll
think it should
drop
only
my
be like
Venmo if
$25.
any
I think it shouldn't
Spotify
be too
subscription.
expensive.
Oh yeah,
Someone
no,
wants to
that'll be reasonable.
get me this game.
Yeah. We'll open up a GoFundMe if you can,
Yeah.
get Theodore and I tickets. That'd be great.
Absolutely. There is an echo.
Yes, there is. Okay, I thought I was the only one who heard that.
All right.
I'm gonna pull out my AirPods too.
Is there an echo coming from me, maybe, or no?
Is there echo still?
No, there's not.
Okay, it was from me then. I don't know why that keeps happening with my AirPods.
Okay, I'll pull mine out too, just in case there's something. I have no reason not to let it play.
All right, sounds good. So we'll just get back into talking hockey. I'll transition to some other games.
Right.
Wait 1 second. I just gotta pull my speaker up.
Oh, by the way,
Sounds good.
Celtics up on the Bucks right now, 100-89 with 3 minutes
Yeah,
left.
I know. That game looks so good.
Yeah, looks like we're gonna have a Game 7 there.
Along with it. I don't know what's up with my speaker. I'll just let me see. I'll just throw my AirPods in because I don't think there was an echo going.
Yeah, it was only for me, I guess. It happened earlier, a few months ago, when I had my AirPods in.
In this game, I just got the alert on my phone. He has 44
points and 20 rebounds.
All right.
Who does?
We'll just take it from the top, because it was only
All
19. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Benchwarmer Sports Podcast. I'm Raffi, joined by Davian and Theodore. As always, boys, I got the Rangers jersey on. Friday night, as we are recording, the Rangers has picked up a big win versus Pittsburgh Penguins, sending the series to 7. Boys, before we hop into my in-depth analysis of the game, I want to hear your guys' thoughts as 2 new hockey perspectives, getting your new thing, getting into playoff hockey, and reborn as Rangers fans. I want to hear your thoughts.
And I was so hyped watching this game. Rangers scored the final goal with a minute and a half left. I jumped out of my seat. I was so on edge watching the game. I love the NBA. I love watching the Bucks and Giannis play. Giannis is balling out as of this recording. But I watched the Rangers over this big-time NBA game because I'm just so dialed into hockey and all the playoff action. It's been so incredible to watch. What a game. What a performance from the team. What a comeback. I'm so hyped for Game 7 on Sunday.
Man, what a game. I mean, I only started watching really in the third period, so I know I missed the first two periods, which were electric. But I had the same reaction as you, Theodore. When they scored, I went crazy. Luckily, I was the only one at home, so my parents didn't think of me as too crazy. But man, what a game. Hype for Game 7. New York City is going to go insane once the Rangers take this and face off against either the Bruins or the Hurricanes.
Yes, is it worth pulling $1,000 out of my college fund to go to this game? I might have to think about it, Game 7 at the Garden?
But
prepare me for my future very well,
that stadium,
to consider it.
That arena is going to be electric. Game
Yes,
1,
it is.
if they had scored in triple overtime, that place, I'm convinced, would have erupted and potentially just crumbled to the ground afterwards. You could just feel the energy watching it. It was an awesome atmosphere. Obviously, Rangers go down 2-0, a lot of stress, I'm very glad the Penguins fans kept saying Igor during the game because I just couldn't. I kept forgetting what Shesterkin's first name was, but they kept reminding me, so I really appreciated that. But it looked like it was just going to be a game where the Penguins were just going to run away with it. They were just going to whip them, and the Rangers, just like how they did in Game 5, they showed resilience, they showed perseverance, they went through it. Evan Rodriguez takes a stupid penalty, and the Rangers score back-to-back on back-to-back shots. Huge momentum swing, and now the Rangers are taking to Game 7. So now we have 4 Game 7s. We have 3 tomorrow as we're recording. Boston, Carolina. We have Toronto, Tampa, and I can't wait for all 3 of these games.
Yeah, I'm so excited for the for those 2 games. Obviously, the Toronto Tampa game we know the result of, but it's gonna be exciting to watch 2 games where you just got no idea what's gonna happen.
Absolutely, and we'll see what happens because if the Bruins win and the Rangers win, we might be bound.
That would be so wild.
We might be bound for a really fun series for the Benchwarmer Sports panel. But that's kind of what's going on in the hockey realm. That's what's going on in the hockey realm. I can't wait. I know you guys are excited as well. I'm very happy that you guys are becoming hockey fans as I plot to make this podcast a very hockey-centric podcast. So I'm currently winning at doing that, and I'm currently succeeding, which I'm very glad about. But let's shift over to the James Harden and the NBA. So there's a lot of stuff going around about James Harden, Joel Embiid. David, do you want to just kick off the conversation about that?
Well, I guess the best way to say it is James Harden kind of sucks. The 76ers are stupid for keeping Doc Rivers. And yeah, I got nothing else really to say. I mean, this team has been abysmal. Trust the process of failing. That's quite the process to trust, really. I got not much to say. They try to, maneuver their way to try and get championship, force their way, but I just can't. I mean, Harden just last night, I think really this past series is just going to it's going to be a stain on his legacy that he could not step up. And I hope that in the future that, he goes electric in the playoffs and as he has before. And, just really carries whatever team he's on, because I'm not even sure he's going to be a 76er when we're, next year, really. So, I don't have much else to say, really. I don't really have much else to say.
Either any thoughts before we dive deeper?
Yes, this is something that I am very excited to talk about. You guys, anyone who's listened to the show kind of knows that I have a very strong disdain for both James Harden and Joel Embiid. First of all, let me just say Doc Rivers, great coach in NBA history. The man won 1 ring, carried by one of the best core 4s you'll ever see in the NBA, and people deciding he was such a great coach. There's so much to go into, so much that could be said, but I think most of it has already. Embiid, such a flopper. He flopped into Danny Green. Danny Green, at 35 years old, is now torn his ACL, may never be able to play again. There's just so much to hate about Embiid. And then after the game, after playing absolutely horrible, he pinned the game for this loss on James Harden. basically said, oh, he wasn't the player he thought he was. Yeah, sure, Harden was disappointing. Yeah, sure, he scored 0 points in the fourth quarter, which is hilarious because, you traded Ben Simmons.
Same amount of points.
Oh, this is a guy who
the
was
same
scoring the
production,
fourth quarter.
arguably.
Yeah,
Yep.
no, it's wild. But before you transition, or I'll let you transition, I have one more very important point to make about James Harden.
Yeah, but I just want to also just hear your guys' thoughts too. I mean, obviously the Sixers, they're on track now to just be out of the playoffs once again. And now it's like, how long is this process going to be rolling for?
Yeah.
Do the Sixers look to trade Joel Embiid? And what could a package look like?
Raffi, let me tell you right now, there's no way you can look into an Embiid trade. I don't like him. Non-Sixers fans don't like him. Player, though. Like, you look at some of the stuff he did in this series and all regular season, he's too good and still too young to trade. He's gotten past a lot of his injury stuff. He's a top 5 player in the league, and you can't even think about trading him. Everything else on the team has to be on the table. You guys know I'm a Thunder fan. Well, a Tobias Harris salary dump to OKC makes a ton of sense. Free up some money there. Put yourself in a position to potentially sign a big free agent in a couple years. I don't think a James Harden trade will happen. I think it should happen. I just don't think there will be a logical trade partner. It might be in the Russell Westbrook territory of a contract that's too bad to move on from. I think teams have started to realize it. Davian, I'll let you take a stab now.
Yeah, I think everything needs to be on the table for the 76ers, really. I mean, OKC, they have so many draft picks. I joke with my friend that, next year we're going to declare for the draft and become, point guards and shooting guards for the OKC Thunder, even though we've never played a game of basketball in our life. But, yeah, I agree that really the 76ers, man, it's abysmal. But, I mean, while we talk about the 76ers' poor performance, I mean, let's talk about the Miami Heat. They're a real threat. I mean, we said that the Miami Heat would be going to the conference final, and I mean that's where they are right now. Right now, the Celtics just won Game 6, meaning that we're gonna have another Game 7. So we might see a Heat against Celtics game. After they have a lot of momentum heading, carrying them. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, Game 7 is going to be in Boston. So. Is Game 7 for the Bruins also going to be in Boston?
It will not be. It will be in Carolina, probably. But
man,
all right, yeah, no, if both are in Boston, I think Boston.
If you're a Boston fan, this weekend is either going to be one of the greatest weekends in Boston history or one of the worst weekends to be a Boston fan. And I'm sure that there's going to be numerous people whose heart rates are going to be going absolutely bonkers for this weekend. So,
no matter what, Raffi, no matter what happens, there's one constant.
No.
Yankees in first place right now, dominating. Red Sox.
I'm telling you, man, these Yankees are insane.
This team is so good. How about that 3-run walk-off from Judge a few nights ago? So hyped about this Yankees team, although I know I will be.
The White Sox are up 7-1. I mean, look, these Yankees are on fire. 8-2 in the past 10 games. They are I don't like to, talk too early about baseball. I mean, I'm not a big baseball fan, but I've listened to I've been following baseball enough to know that don't talk about the playoffs till really June, July. It's May, it's early. You don't know what's going to happen, but man, these Yankees are electric. They are
the
fun
starting rotation too.
Look at the Nationals a few years ago. Had a terrible first half of the season and then just went off fire. So I don't really look too much into what's going on right now for baseball. Obviously, as you mentioned, Dave, in June, July is when you really start to get a good picture of who's going to be potentially a contender, who's more of a pretender, and then obviously August, you really get that final idea of, okay, I think this team can go far. This team's currently getting hot. I also do want to mention, and I will do this every single time we talk about the Yankees, you guys are the Dallas Cowboys fans of the MLB.
Yes.
So
Raffi,
I just want to point
that out. We had a full show where we talked about this basically for 20 minutes straight. Please, just let me be happy about two New York teams at the same time for probably the first time in my life. Please just let me have this right now.
Yeah.
I need this badly. Very
Maybe we
sad.
can be, happy about two other New York teams. Well, actually, let's hope only one more because I'm not a big fan of the Jets. But I mean, I'm looking at these schedules. They're not bad for these Jets and Giants, really.
Yeah, the Giants, the whole NFC East actually has the 4 easiest schedules
Well, yeah,
in the
'cause they
NFL.
suck. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They all play each other, so like that lowers the strength by so much. But the Giants have very good chance on paper, solid year. I was in such a heated debate earlier, just full on screaming with a Cowboys fan and Jets fan about how the Giants were going to win at least 8 games this year. I think it can happen. I want it to happen. Deep down, I know it won't happen, but I'm holding out hope. Let's try not to go into a full on Daniel Jones debate.
I'm looking
It
at
really
the
comes down to Daniel Jones, I feel like.
And we're on a full on.
Yep,
debate.
exactly.
He's going to ball out.
It's really coming down to
Daniel
Daniel
Jones.
Jones. This is his year to prove himself, or he should be off the team. Bryce Young for the Giants. I'm saying it right now. It's gonna happen.
See, is it really a bad thing though if the Giants have a terrible season this year? As long as like Thibodeau shows signs, and as long as their young guys show signs of development, Andrew Thomas shows that he's continuing on in his progression. If the Giants wind up only winning like 4 games and get like a top 5 pick, and that puts you in position to get C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young, I don't know why you can be unhappy with the Giants situation.
Raffi says this as a Falcons fan that's accepted
Daniel
rebuilding.
Jones is too good.
I've accepted the rebuild. I am all aboard it. All aboard the tank. We have a hard schedule. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, that schedule's abysmal.
The Blackhawks will retain their 2023 first round pick. I'm ready for them to tank. I'm going to get a bunch of franchise players next year, and I'm looking forward to it because although I have the Bruins right now, I have no right to say anything though. The Blackhawks won 3 Stanley Cups and the Cubs won a World Series. I have no. There are people in Detroit that are just like, I want the glory days of the Detroit Red Wings again. So it is what it is. But yeah, so some of these other games, honestly, you talked about the Jets, and I honestly think that there's potential for the Jets to win a solid amount of games this year. Yeah. I think the Jets could potentially finish 3rd in the AFC East, which is not bad. I honestly think Miami will be 2nd, but I think the Jets might finish ahead of the Patriots.
How are you possibly saying that the Jets?
How can you say that?
Patriots? That is a ridiculous take.
Are you kidding me, Raffi?
Jets finishing in anything other than 4th would be an absolute stunner to me.
Hold on. Let's talk about
Wilson takes that next up.
Week 1. Lamar Jackson. Then Browns.
Who's Mac Jones you throw the ball to?
Runs around and overthrows a couple wide receivers by only a few yards, and people decide that he's the next Patrick Mahomes. I mean, come on, give me a break.
I never said he was the next Patrick Mahomes.
Now that's the narrative that so many people are trying to push. Yes, the Jets had a very good draft. Yes, they're a team that's possibly trending upwards. No, they are not going to finish better than the Bills.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you,
or the Dolphins with that receiver corps.
I said they're going to be better than Patriots.
No, that's not going to happen though. You have the Ravens week 1, that's a loss. The Browns, fine, you win that. Bengals week 3, that's a loss. Steelers then, fine, you win that. You're 2-2. Then you have the Dolphins, the Packers, the Broncos. You're losing all 3 of those games, and then the Patriots and Bills, and you're losing all of them as well. And then you have the Patriots week after that. So there's going to be like a 5-game losing streak. And then you have the Bears. It's finally your big break.
I think the Jets show some sign that they're coming out of the rebuild.
Giants fan, I recognize this all too well. It's a brutal schedule to start the season. You lose a ton of games. You get out of playoff contention. And then you go on a winning streak and mess up your draft stock.
That is what's going to happen
with the Jets team.
Their final 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games. Their final 7 games are the Bears, the Vikings, the Bills, which fine, that's a loss. Lions, Jaguars, Seahawks, and Dolphins. Those out of those 7 games, they could win 6.
Exactly. But it's very possible.
The first half of their schedule it's just terrible. There's no way they're gonna win.
You never know.
Zach Wilson, confidence crusher.
If Zach Wilson takes that next step, I would not be shocked if they win 7 games this year. I wouldn't be shocked at all. But another thing I want to shift towards, also involved in the AFC East, is where do you guys think the Dolphins are going to finish this year? Where do you think they're going to finish? Because obviously they made a lot of moves this offseason. Obviously, a big addition to Tyreek Hill. Where do the Dolphins finish in your guys' opinion?
3rd.
Very fun team in my eyes. Because I'm so excited for this Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle duo. They have a lot of their good pieces on defense from a couple of those past teams that just barely missed the playoffs. Tua is just such a wild card, man. Did you see they posted a hype video for the team with Tua throwing to Tyreek Hill? He underthrew him.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't know about him. Like, it just feels like this is such a different guy than the guy that tore up SEC defenses at Alabama.
Yeah.
I just don't know. The team's too good to absolutely fall apart. So who knows how the Flores firing is going to hurt the chemistry. It's an interesting case. They'll be better than the Jets, though.
Did you guys hear about how Tom Brady was supposed to be a QB for them? Like, they came out with the full story now.
Yeah,
it was so
wild.
It was really intricate, like, plan. It was going to be Brady would become a minority owner. Then he would unretire. He would get traded there or something like that, and then he would recruit Sean Payton to coach.
Yep. I'm telling you, this is all just Brady getting revenge for all those late road losses in Miami. This is just his way at getting back at Dolphins fans because there's no way this was an actual thing, right?
But what if he loses every game in Miami now and then winds up going like 9-8 or something every year?
Imagine Tom Brady going 9-8.
Yeah. No, Miami's just like a death. Like, Brady in Miami is just never good. I say that as
I could see the owner thing happening down the line.
Yeah, I do see that as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, of course. What other teams do you guys think are going to be sleepers? Do you guys think have really nice schedules that could shock some people? Obviously, the Bengals were not projected to go and even make the playoffs last year by many people. Many people had them finishing in the bottom of the AFC North. We obviously know what happened there. What teams do you guys think that either missed the playoffs or have a really nice schedule where they're kind of under the radar and could potentially make a nice playoff run in the coming weeks?
Vikings, kind of. I mean, they have a okay schedule. I mean,
it's Kirk Cousins, though.
Yeah, but it's also the Packers without Devontae Adams, so...
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't trust Kirk Cousins. Also, I do want to say I'm super hyped for Thanksgiving. Patriots are playing the Vikings in prime time. Well, this is not a prime time Thanksgiving game. Don't get me wrong. This should be like a 1 o'clock Sunday game in like week 4 or something like that.
Oh, absolutely.
But the Patriots being in prime time, man, I love it because I mean, especially being like living in New Jersey, you can't really always see Patriot games. It's gonna be fun to watch. But yeah, no, I do see the Vikings having a bit of a run on things.
Now remember, Americans, and you guys should all get excited about this. You get to eat turkey with your family. You get to watch Lions Bears, and you get to watch Giants Cowboys. That is exactly what the nation wants to see.
Game. I'm excited.
NFL did so good planning it out. Yeah. But my sleeper team is obvious, and I was very excited when the Colts traded for Matt Ryan. That excitement just continues to boil over as I find that they have the 7th easiest strength of schedule in the league.
Wow.
Or 6th, actually. 6th easiest strength of schedule. The only teams below them are the 4 NFC East teams and the Detroit Lions. So as far as good teams go, so easy compared to everyone else. I really thought this team with Wentz would be great. They weren't. Matt Ryan is a huge upgrade over Wentz, and I'm very excited to see what the Colts can do.
Do you think now with A.J. Brown getting traded and dealt out of Tennessee that the Colts should be a lock to win the AFC South?
As close to a lock as we have in this NFL. I'd say probably them and the Green Bay Packers are probably the only 2 divisions where I can look at it and say, you know what, I don't feel like there's a lot of competition for this division because I think they'll be able to run through it. Maybe Buffalo to an extent, although I think New England and Bill Belichick will put up a solid fight. Derrick Henry is great, but I just don't think he will be able to totally carry Tennessee as good as the Colts are, though the Titans have a light schedule as well.
Davian?
I do agree with the Colts. I think the Colts can really make a run for it. Matt Ryan, after hearing more about the details of the trade and what happened, I do really think that Matt Ryan can really help out these Colts. But I mean, I'm hyped for the Patriots. I think that they could really make a run. There's not much more to say. The Patriots would just do it.
I would not be shocked.
Yeah. You can't count out Bill Belichick. I think he kind of proved that he can win without Brady last year, and I think he's prepared to take that to the next level this season.
Exactly.
The AFC is just too stacked, though. I mean,
The AFC is extremely stacked. I mean,
I'm
the
sure we'll be
AFC
talking
West
about
is
this so
extremely
much.
stacked. The AFC West is incredibly stacked. I'm so excited to see those games. I mean, you're gonna have each team, like every single team in that division, except for maybe the Raiders, are like really hyped to watch.
Man,
But the
Raiders
Raiders
are gonna
have
be
Chandler
so good.
Jones and they have Devontae Adams now.
Did they have Chandler Jones now? Oh,
Man, you see, there's been so much going on. We can't even.
I didn't even know
touch it.
that. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, no, Oakland is gonna be good. Although,
Oakland. Uh-oh.
man, I'm sorry to any Oakland
Oh,
residents who
oh.
just got the trauma of me saying
Them
that.
and the St. Louis Rams are going to have great seasons. I just have a
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
obviously the Atlanta
Yes.
Thrashers are going to win the Stanley Cup next year. I think that's.
Oh yeah,
Can't forget about
Chargers. So they're gonna
the
do
Diego
so.
Chargers. Yeah, you
But
got it.
one team I do want to talk about as we get closer to closing the show is the Philadelphia Eagles. And I know, Theodore, you're not going to want to talk about
What about them? I mean, like what? Jalen Hurts? We really gonna trust them? We really gonna put our trust in Jalen Hurts to do well? Like I'm not
Thank you,
putting my money
Davian.
anywhere near the Eagles. Okay.
Thank you.
I think with the addition of A.J. Brown, there's potential there. I'm not saying that they go on a deep run.
Right. It's the same thing with Dolphins. You can bring in all the best wide receivers, but if you don't have anybody to throw to them, then like it doesn't matter. The one exception I'll make is for like the Giants because they brought in Kenny Golladay thinking that he's crazy good when he's really not. But then they also have
Giants mismanaged this all.
It's like just double trouble there.
I think the Eagles can definitely get a wild card spot this year. I don't think that's too out of the reach.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. The Eagles are a good team, but I just don't think that they're going to be amazing.
Oh, yeah, no. I'm not saying they're going to be amazing. I'm not saying they're going to go on a deep run. I'm just saying that with the NFC being not very good this year, as we're all predicting, I think the Eagles are definitely one of those mid-tier teams that could potentially, as long as Jalen Hurts performs up to average level, I think the Eagles, with their addition of A.J. Brown and with some of Devonta Smith's progression, I think they could potentially get a wild card spot. Do I think they go far? No. But I think that they're a team that I think is going to be interesting to see how they come along with the New York Giants, who I also mentioned. Is Daniel Jones the guy? So there's some questions.
I have a
prediction. I think we're in for a very balanced NFC East.
Right.
Like I could really see every team being within like 3 games of each other this year.
Yeah, agreed. I also have a prediction. I do see the Cowboys potentially looking at a trade with Zeke if Tony Pollard continues to play well as he did last year.
He's gonna have no value though, man. Like
I don't think. Contract. It
no value at all.
Okay, wait, Theodore. I have a question. As a Giants fan, would you be interested in seeing possibly Saquon being traded?
No, because the value is so low. Now, if we could get like a 2nd-round pick for Saquon, I'm all for it. But Saquon is too high upside. Him being that 2018 player, there's still enough of that left for me to say, you know what, a 3rd-round pick is cool, but I'm just not willing to do it. And let me just say, a 3rd-round pick isn't even on the table. Like the value they were floating was like a 4th, most likely a 5th. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, no.
Let him go out there and try to
dominate.
That's the
thing with the NFL in general. It's just the fact that draft picks have such high value, it feels like, where you can see a guy, like look at the Amari Cooper trade. Like obviously his contract and there was other factors in why the return was so small. But I feel like unless you're a superstar player like Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, Russell Wilson, like Saquon Barkley, if he doesn't have a breakout year and continues just to be like in and out of the lineup, injured, like half in, half out, but he's still playing well, like he might, like teams might be like, oh, I'll give you a 3rd-round pick for him, which I think is like you're not going to get a player like Saquon Barkley in the 3rd round. Maybe you can get a guy like him in the 2nd round if you really hit, because that's where most running backs tend to go. But I think it's ridiculous how inflated the prices with draft picks, in my personal opinion, and how that just has decreased overall players' values.
Now, so much of this is money, though. And, I mean, you keep seeing, I think we've discussed it before on this show, that money in the NFL makes absolutely no sense. And all these GMs, with the exception of Dave Gettleman, was able to completely finesse the system. Whereas the Giants are a horrible team who has to cut half their secondary just to sign their rookies. But that's besides the point. But so much of it is okay. Like we're Kansas City, we have this huge Mahomes contract kicking in. We have to bring back some role players, so there's no way we can hang on to Tyreek Hill. So they're going to trade him and bring in these rookies. Like sometimes I think it's the only way for a team to keep some of its roster intact. They kind of have to settle and kind of have to hope that they can bring in some production in these rookies.
Except for the QB position, players in the NFL are replaceable.
I'd argue that QBs are.
I mean, I can agree. I can agree within like a certain.
Well, Theodore, I know your take on QBs being replaceable.
Yes.
We had a discussion.
I'm not going to go with that now.
I think like wide receivers can be somewhat replaced, but especially running backs
are so replaceable, Davian. Wide receivers are getting to that running back level where find the next one so easily, and I think teams are starting to realize that. Like teams are thinking, okay, wait a minute,
you guys remember
maybe
my
I
Deebo
should
Samuel trade argument.
No, I agree that wide receivers are replaceable. I mean, look, I'm a Patriots fan. We replaced under Brady, we were just replacing wide receivers left and right. So, but yeah, no, I think the NFL. I think especially I want to see what happens with the running back position because it's becoming less and less really valued. But then there's teams are shifting. There's some teams are shifting to a more run heavy type of like offense. So. It depends where the shift. It's like the NFL is in this weird mix where passing is becoming more and more, like I guess the norm, and running and like run game teams running first teams are going they're straying away from that. But it'll be interesting to see.
Trend wise, like we're smack in the middle. Like I think 15, 20 years from now, people will look back and say, "Oh, this was the rise of the utility players." Like I think Taysom Hill kind of started a trend. Where now we're getting all these Deebo Samuels and all these guys, and I think this will be a common mainstay in the NFL. So I think we're definitely in the middle of some very important long-term football trends, like how you look back at, the 1970s with Dan Fouts and the Chargers, where like the passing game took off. Like we're kind of right in the next evolution of NFL football right now.
Absolutely, even players like Isaiah Simmons, who were like do-it-all players at Clemson, a lot of teams were. He was ranked very highly because of that ability to move him around. And you have a team like Arizona just hasn't really quite used him in the right way, which is funny because you can use him in a billion different ways. But I feel like
I was so mad when the Giants missed out on him in the draft. That looks like it's kind of worked out a little bit, but I thought he was going to be an absolute superstar.
He might still work out. I hope he does. I think
the potential's there for sure.
And maybe just get a change of scenery if things continue not to work out for the next year or two. But luckily, we have plenty of time over the offseason to discuss more about this stuff. Luckily, the NHL and NBA playoffs are still going on, so we still have content, but we will certainly be milking things out as we get closer to the NFL season. But that will be a wrap for this episode. I'm Raffi. We appreciate you guys for listening. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Spotify. Give us a good rating, and we will see you guys next week.
Peace.